Hello.
What are you eating over there?
I'm not, listen, beacon of help over here, pal.
Beacon of health.
I haven't touched the food today.
Really?
Nothing. No, nothing. Solid, nothing.
I, I
Not
ate
one thing.
I ate four of those Korean ramen packs and passed
Right.
out. I
Healthy.
passed out.
Oh, wonder why. I wonder why.
Passed out. I got you called me. I was in the middle of a coma. I barely even remember talking to you. I just remember you said to call you at 5. So here we
Well,
are.
so, I was going to start the podcast off and say, did I wake you? Or you like, do you need more sleep? I mean, I don't want to, ruin your sleep.
No, we'll trudge through. I'm sure you've got a lot of good stories today, so we'll
Well, let's not go that far.
we'll let Jesus take the wheel, and you can drive the car today.
Yeah. Oh, let Jesus take the wheel. So you're on autopilot right now, is what you're saying.
Yes, I am.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I haven't even fought with your mom today. That's how out of it I am.
No?
No. Although I did get my revenge on her yesterday when she started getting. Your mom
Yeah.
does not learn. You and let's just put it this way: you are the instigator. You tagged her, or I don't know how it even came about. Some little
I did.
back and forth on Instagram, where she started taking jabs at me. Like, I never said I was dieting right now, and I said, listen, I know you're not on your diet. And she said, oh, that was just yesterday. Today, I'm back on it today. And I was like, yeah, I think all I replied was, sure. And then later that day, I may have also even said the curse hasn't been lifted yet. And then I think I checked in with you later, and you were giving me the update on what you guys were having for dinner. And you said your mom was stuffing her face with all kinds of bad foods again. I was like, yeah, that proclamation lasted about 6 hours that she was back on her diet.
Well, listen, don't let her fool you. I tried to video her yesterday shoving French fries down her face, but she was very, very smart to the fact that this was going to happen, and she was protecting herself. I was like, don't worry. I'm going to tell him. He's going to know. Like, this isn't going, this new war. So you've now feuded. You have a feud with my son, my daughter, and now my mother of all people. You are an animal.
Although
Marco's baby. I mean, who else are we feuding with here?
Well, I mean, always Disco Inferno.
Always Disco.
Today I happened to come across on Facebook a video from him in Impact Wrestling, where they were making him wear a turkey suit for some reason.
Right.
So I went to Google to.
For some reason.
Yeah, it was probably, I assume, a Thanksgiving episode of
Right.
Impact, and I went to Google and downloaded a couple images to post for Thanksgiving in a day or two of him in the turkey suit. So yeah. So I'm feuding with Disco Inferno. I mean, listen, I'm not actively feuding with your kids. All right, I think that's kind of settled down into like a just a simmering back burner kind of heat, set on low. I think maybe even you and me and your daughter don't really have any ongoing thing anymore. I mean, she may not like me, but
Right.
I can live with that. Your boy Nick, he's just a dick, hence the nickname Nick the Dick. And I think, I'll fight him anytime he wants. I'll fight him anytime, anywhere, any place. And your mom's just ridiculous. I mean, I forget. Didn't she started this whole thing? Didn't she? She took the shot at me. So don't make it like I'm the fucking bad guy in all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are the bad guy, but yeah.
I mean, I kind of like I don't know how I'm the bad guy. I really don't. But if you want to just throw that out there like that and leave it unanswered, I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Okay.
I mean, let's see. Who else am I feuding with? I mean, listen,
Everyone, you're like the most hated man in podcasting.
I might have a little heat with Marco still, where I take my my playful jab at him, like you sometimes take a shot at Blake.
Right.
But that's it. That's it.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, so you got nothing today?
What am I supposed to have? This was always your show.
Here we go. It's my show. It's my show when you don't have anything. Always my show.
Well, it's called the Furlough Files because you're the one that got furloughed, and I said, "Do you want to do a podcast?" And this was your podcast, so
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
Well, we'll start off with I know we talked about Knicks basketball, so we had another game since our last. So we had a game last night. We won again. We're 3-0. 3-0.
So
but let me just.
What's the difference? Ahead. Coaching change? Players?
Coaching. They're motivated more, probably because of the coaching.
Yeah.
But this game, my brother went to. My brother played basketball. He was really good, so he went. First time he's ever seen Nick play live. Nick actually played pretty decent, so it was great, fine. But let me tell you something. I don't know this new coach yet because he's not introduced himself to like the parents. We've not had a parent meeting, any of this. This amateur, his iPad memory was full and could not record the game.
Okay.
That would have never happened if I was in charge. He did not rehire me. I didn't make the cut when the other coach quit. He didn't rehire me to film.
What do you mean by rehire? So, were you ever hired, or were you just?
Well, listen, I was paid with a gift card.
Oh, that's true. That's true. The
regifting gift card. So the amateur doesn't have his iPad. So now, I have my iPad, and the kid that he had filming is like, "Hey, coach's iPad is full. He can't film." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do about it?" And he's like, "Well, you have your iPad." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not filming the whole game. I'm going to sit with my family. I'm only going to film when Nick's in, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop when he comes out. Like, I'm not filming the whole game. Like, you have not introduced yourself. You have not, I never got the nod that I'm the guy. Like, I got fired from my job.
Look at you, Mister.
Right.
Like, you just want someone to come over and kiss the ring. I mean,
right.
Don't want to help your kid's team. You don't want to help the other parents. You don't want to help your son's coach.
No, it's a simple, like, hey, man. No. So I filmed, like, the beginning of the game, and I don't have my tripod that I bought doesn't fit my iPad, so I have to hold it. Well, after, like, one quarter, I was done. I'm not filming anymore. Of course, when I stopped, I didn't film the rest of the game. Nick did well. And he's like, "You didn't film?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I'll watch coaches film." I was like, "Yeah, about that."
Good luck with that.
There's no film of that either. So I didn't film. But, so yesterday the referees, they were horrible. So, we're doing the jaw jacking like usual. Well, a kid on the other side, could have been me, but he makes a bad call. And he actually stopped the game because some fans were booing him. I've never heard of this ever. So there was like a crowd to the left. They were booing his bad call. And he stopped the game because he didn't like they were booing him and had the athletic director go over there and warn them for booing him. So what do you think happens when that, occurs is that, we all start booing on the other side of the court now. So he's got the left side booing where he's giving them the warning because he doesn't like the booing. Then the right side starts booing. And me, of course, I'm like, "You're an idiot." I'm just screaming at him like, "You shouldn't even ref. Get off the court." So now the guy's frazzled. Like, he doesn't know where to look. And it's like, my dad's screaming, like, "Referee shouldn't pay attention to the crowd." He's screaming at him, and the guy was getting it from all over. But they warned all the fans. With a warning, can't boo the referee. His feelings were hurt. So
right.
Never heard of that ever. Probably shouldn't be refereeing, then, if that's the case.
If you're that fragile, because that comes with the territories. Somebody's not going to agree with your call.
That's like being a bad guy in wrestling and getting upset because the fans are booing you.
Right.
Really upset, not like fake wrestling upset.
Yeah, in like real sports, the ref is always the bad
guy.
Right.
Right. It's like, why is he listening to the crowd? It's odd. It was very odd. So, we got one, but we won big. So.
When in a real sporting event, at the end of a real sporting event, you will definitely hear people shit on the refs. You've never heard at the end of a game going, "I thought the refereeing was fantastic in this game."
Right. Right. Yeah, like you got to know what you're getting into, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, nobody's ever said that. No. So yeah, I never heard of a warning of warning for booing. I never heard of that in my life. So we got the warning. Whatever. We won big, and I kind of like lost my voice again. It's been happening. I've been screaming a lot this year. I'm losing my voice a little bit. So
Well, we
a
can't
little
have that.
raspy today. A little raspy.
Can't
A
have
little
that.
raspy. No, right? I mean, couldn't do the show without me. So.
Uh, like you could say you've got a sports related injury.
Sports related injury. Horse, Charlie horse? No. My throat.
Yeah,
I'm screaming.
be yelling at my kids' basketball game.
Right. Yelling at everybody I can. But yeah. So, but funny story. When we walk into the game, and it's like me, my mom, my dad, and my brother, and we walk in and kind of like looking at the lay of the land. Where are you going to sit? The girls' game's going on. Just kind of like looking around, and I'm standing like within 2 spots of a police officer. Like that's where I stopped. I literally just stopped to look. We all did. This guy, he literally looks at me and puts his hand on his gun, and I'm like, so I look over at my dad. My dad's like, what the fuck? So the guy kind of like steps back and like walks away. I guess I got too close to him. My
What
dad's
is
like, did he
with
just put his hand on his gun?
all these like tenderfoot, delicate people?
Right. And I'm like, he did, like, he literally was like nervous, but there was like you could fit 2 more people in between me and him. It wasn't like I was on his hip. And he kind of like backed away, and I was like, I don't know. Do I come off like the guy that's about to grab it from you at a basketball game with an iPad in his hand and his mom and dad? And weird. So, yeah, so it ended up too that after the game, that police officer told the coach that he didn't think the team was playing with chemistry. They were yelling at each other. And I said, I guess the coach brought it up to the team after the game. We won by like 25 points. And I'm like, who the fuck is this cop upstairs to tell anybody who's playing who, how, or where?
Right.
So, yeah, they had to have practice today, and some kids had to run because the police officer said that they were not playing as a team. And I'm like, who the hell is he to say that? He was up top watching, Very
Yeah,
weird.
it's not like he even had any. Not like one of his kids was on the team or anything.
No, and we won by a lot, so it's like it's weird. But yeah, I don't know. The sensitive area is running strong here in
Well, that and
the south side of Atlanta.
that and the era of everyone feels the need to share their opinion, and
Right.
the era where the coach or the company in that instance jumps through flaming hoops off of everyone's singular stupid opinion, the uninformed opinion. Like those kids had to run because some stupid cop that may know nothing about nothing, other than shoot first, ask questions later, thought the team wasn't playing with any chemistry. This is ridiculous.
Right. So it brings me to this today. I actually came with another story. My stories are all segueing into each other.
Oh, here we
not
go.
Noticed this. So anybody who watches pro wrestling knows last night a fan on WWE Monday Night Raw jumped over the barricade and attacked the wrestler Seth Rollins. You don't do that in wrestling. That's like a big no-no.
Did you see that tweet I sent the group?
Yes.
That
so he got catfished.
He got catfished. He may not be all mentally there. And
did you not see the video I sent?
No.
Oh, go watch. There's a video of him detailing like everything. He truly believed he was talking to WWE superstar Seth Rollins on WhatsApp, and he even gave this person money. So he was totally catfished, and he jumped the guardrail last night to attack Seth Rollins because Seth stole his money and never came through with the free tickets, nothing was true of that. But in the wrestling world, you don't do that. Fans don't cross the barrier. If you cross the barrier,
it's all free game. It's fair game, yeah.
Right. So last night, the guy jumped the barrier. He tackled Rollins pretty good, Rollins had him like a front face choke.
He
and
came in
they
hot, like
tussled.
he a running spear,
A
like
running start.
it
Right.
looked good.
Like Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
So,
Edge.
Yeah. What? You can't say Goldberg?
Well,
Does
people
it
may
offend you because you're a Goldberg fan?
no. I'm just saying because I think Goldberg's lost a step, so some people might think it's the
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyway, he spears him. They kind of tussle. Security comes. They get the guy. They arrest him. Whatever. Blah blah blah. It's a no-no. But it brought me to think about a situation that actually happened to me in a match. This was back in the day. We were outside wrestling at a show. And funny thing is a couple things happened that night before. First of all, me and Eric were wrestling a tag team match against two other guys. And we were outside. It was on a baseball field or something. I was at FAU in Boca Raton, Florida. So we were getting ready for the match, and one of the wrestlers who I spoke about recently, Hack Myers, for some reason forgot his wrestling boots. I don't know why. Drugs probably. So he was like, "Can I borrow your boots?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, we're on after you." He's like, "Look, I will do the match. I will literally come right back. You can put the boots on and go out there." Anybody that puts on wrestling boots knows it takes, especially for out-of-shape people, which at that time I wasn't really out of shape, but it takes forever to put your wrestling boots on. So he does the match. He runs back, throws me the boots. So now I'm trying to get the boots on as our music's playing. So I'm fucking, shit, blah, 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 blah. So I'm getting them on. I go out there. My boots are half tied. They're not even laced. I'm like, I'm a fucking mess. So as they announced the other team, I told them, take your time, go around the ring, give, high fives, blah, blah, blah. So I get my boots on. So already I'm already frazzled. The match starts. I'm in the ring. We're doing stuff. We end up like all four guys come in and we're fighting. And Eric and the other guy go outside the ring, and I'm in the ring with the other guy, and we're going. And I look over at one point, and I'm like, I can tell like something's going on to the right of me, and I look again, and they're in the crowd, literally brawling fans. So now I look at the other guy. I was like, we have to go help them. We get out of the ring. The match just stops. We hop over the guardrail. What happened is some of the FAU students thought wrestling was real, and when they came out to fight near the barricade, one of the guys slapped the other. Not Eric. He slapped the other guy in the back. The other guy turned around and fucking popped him.
Right.
You don't put your hands on wrestlers. Like, no, you don't do that. Like, this may be a fake sport, but I promise you, there's a lot of guys who will kick your ass. So the guy pops him. They start going at it. They go into the crowd. Eric goes to save him. So now me and the other guy go in, and it was like students versus wrestlers. I mean, we were just throwing haymakers. Everybody was just. It was a brawl. Like, it was a brawl until we finally.
So
like,
did you hit anyone?
Well, yeah. I went over because I was like, I'm not going to let my boys get beat up. We're just throwing haymakers, and then finally it kind of got separated. We went back in the ring. We went back over the guardrail. And those guys were all like, frazzled at the students. And we went back in the ring, literally just started the match as if nothing happened.
Went back, yeah.
And they got escorted out and kicked out of the building. And we went back to have the match as nothing. But that was the only time that's ever happened in 20 years of wrestling. But I'll never forget. We were like throwing punches back and forth, and I could see it at the club. I'm like, something's going on. So like I hit the guy one more time, and I hit him a second time. I was like, stay down. So I could look, and I looked over. I was like, we got to go. Like, they were just brawling in the crowd. But it was like a group of like 4 or 5 kids, and they thought they were, funny. I don't know. But once they got their ass handed to them, they backed off. But in wrestling, that's a no-no, man. You don't jump in the ring. You don't jump the barricade. Any of that stuff.
Yeah. I saw Seth was taking a lot of criticism by some of the boys, some old school guys, but also some of his generation's guys about him,
right.
Him not doing anything about it, like
right.
Like I guess just basically accusing him of being kind of a pussy for not beating the shit out of this guy. Because I mean, look, you kind of have to do it, especially when it's being filmed like that. So that other people know, like, oh, if I do that, I might get like brain damage from the beating I'm going to take. Like, it's not worth it.
Right, right.
You got to make it clear it's not worth doing it. You step over the barricade and get
Right.
physical
You
with
got to know
someone,
this.
there's going to be a heavy toll to pay. Otherwise, like, people watch this, they go, "Oh, this guy tackled Seth." They rolled around for a little bit, and then they yanked him out. That looked like fun. I'll go do that, and then I'll become famous, for
Right.
2 minutes. No, you got to.
Right. And it was insane. Right.
It's
But,
got to
like,
be a
it's just the
huge
whole,
deterrent. You got to
right.
you got to watch that and be like, "Oh, like Seth should have like when they were like pinning him down, probably should have taken a kick or two to the guy's head."
Right.
Like,
Right.
fuck
You
it,
should've, right. And now that I see the videos, the kid is maybe he's not all there, so
right.
But you got to think too.
But that
but
doesn't
like there's
that
been
doesn't change.
situations,
That doesn't
no,
change
right.
what everyone sees later.
Right, because he could have stabbed him, he could have done anything, you
Right,
know? I mean,
right.
any of that, right? So just crazy, but yeah, that story popped in my head today. There's the only time it's ever happened to me, where we had to get like real, Now there's other stories I have where I had to get real in the ring with guys. I can specifically think of one. It was other wrestlers, not fans, and it involves our boy JB Cool and his partner.
Yeah.
At the time,
Let's
which I
hear
don't
it.
remember the guy's name. He was so irrelevant.
Let's hear that one.
So me and Eric were working a match, and working a wrestling match against JB Cool, who I started with 20 years ago, and some other guy, I don't remember his name. The funny thing is we were in a gym. There was not very many people there, and for some reason they rented a boxing ring instead of a wrestling ring. Now, if anybody wants to know the difference, wrestling rings are bouncy. It's made the bounce make noise. Boxing rings are dead flat. You can't fall on a boxing mat like you do a wrestling mat. It doesn't move. It's literally like thump, hard as a rock.
It's also, I think, the ropes aren't usually strung tight,
right.
and there's like a fourth.
Right.
There's a fourth one, isn't there, for boxing?
Yes, right. So there was. So this is the turnbuckles are different.
Yeah.
So they rent this boxing ring. Like of course, JV Cool. Of course, he rents a boxing ring.
It's probably $20 cheaper.
Right, probably. So we start the match. It's not like he gave us the extra money, but the match starts, and me and the other guy in the ring, and it kind of like, you plan stuff in wrestling. You talk about it, you plan it out before you go out there. We get out there, and the guy's kind of like going rogue. And I'm like, this is nothing we planned. So maybe he forgot, because I forget all the time. So I was like, hey, you forget the spot? And he's like, no, fuck that spot. And I'm like, what? We've never had heat with these guys before. We've never been in an argument with them before. So it was totally, I was like, what? And he starts shooting on me. And shooting is like, he's starting to fight for real. So next thing I know, we're throwing real punches. Like, he's hitting me for real, so I start hitting him back for real. Well, it's starting to get a little out of hand, and the referee kind of notices but doesn't. I just looked back at Eric, and I just said, like, I gave him a look. Me and Eric had this, we wrestled so much together that if I gave him a certain look, he knew what that meant, and he knew this was getting real. I gave him the look. He don't even tag in. He literally just came in the ring and just punched the dude. Like, just punched him.
Yeah.
And we kind of started like for real, like just jumping him almost. And then JB came in, and JB had nothing to do with it. And he came in and was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And I was like, yo, your boy is like, he's shooting on me. Like, this is bullshit. So JB gets him out of the ring. We end up finishing the match, and we get in the back, and the guy's like, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, I was just trying to make it look real. I was like, nah, bro. Like, first of all, it's not real. This is not real. It's fucking fake. Stop it. Second of all, like, you don't punch somebody for real. Well, like, I figured because of, we're in the boxing ring, and maybe it was a boxing crowd. I was like, no. I was like, maybe you don't understand.
He got confused because he was in a boxing ring.
Right. And like, I'm like, this crowd's here to see wrestling, all 14 people. Right. I was like, you never do that shit again. Because, like, he's like, well, I figured once you guys started hitting me back that this was wrong. And I was like, I was like, fuck, how did you not know that? Like you...
I'm glad
you almost got killed in there.
I'm glad at some point your brain kicked in.
Right. Well, and he's lucky JB saved him because we were pummeling homie there. He was getting pummeled.
Yeah.
So, but JB kind of saved his ass. But Yeah, I mean it's happened a couple times where guys got a little stiff and but I'm the same way. Like if me and a guy who's in the ring I didn't like, I would definitely be a
Pop
little
them.
harder on
Yeah,
them.
get
Yeah,
a little stiff.
right.
But there's a difference between being
A little
stiff,
bit.
being snug or
And being
stiff.
real.
Yeah, and
Right.
just yeah.
And hurting, trying to hurt somebody. Right, right. Because I would never intentionally hurt anybody except for the time I tried to kill Trevor. But that was besides the point.
Well,
You know?
listen, I want to hear that one again because I was kind of there. Well, wait, was I there? Was that the birthday one or was that the?
It was the birthday party.
Yeah, see, I wasn't at the birthday party.
Birthday
That's why
party.
I'm always like,
Oh, you weren't at the birthday
no,
party, so
but
you
I was
didn't
at
see
the
that.
one where you threw a chair at him.
It wasn't me that threw the chair. It was JoJo.
Okay, that's where I was confused with. Yeah, at the bike. That was the biker show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And wasn't he like in the front row of chairs? Like he
was.
got thrown onto the
So
chairs, and then JoJo threw a chair at him. Okay, yeah,
what
yeah.
happened? Well, here's the story. Here's the story. Untold story. So JoJo's is a friend of mine. He's a wrestler. We all know him. We were wrestling Trevor, who is another guy in the wrestling business, and I have no ill will towards him these days, but there was a little bit of animosity, and I think so. He didn't want to work with me and JoJo because we were known as the older veterans who were really stiff and tight. Like we were really, we would lay our stuff in because we didn't want it to look weak.
Well, but
and
also you two were really kind of assholes at that point. You two were
right,
very
right,
vocal,
especially towards him.
You were vocal. You didn't like that generation
Right.
of guys. You thought they were all.
Because they didn't earn it.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm just saying, you were. It's not like it was totally unwarranted that someone wouldn't like you
Right,
or want to work with you
Right.
at that
No,
point.
oh, it was
You were-
totally warranted.
You were literally kicking your. At that point, your actions and the way you behaved,
Right.
you were kicking yourself out of the wrestling door.
Right.
You were.
I
Yeah.
was, right.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, that generation pissed me off. They were fucking lazy and bunch of pussies. So he did not want to work with us. And we kind of started to call stuff in the back, and he was really like hesitant, like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. And we were being fair. Like, it wasn't like we were trying to like make them look bad. And the match starts, and he like kind of refused to get in the ring. And I think I took a bottle of water and threw it at him. And we got in there, and then like, I think JoJo hit him a little too hard, and he didn't like it. So he rolled out of the ring, and then he was like, I'm not getting back in. And he like didn't want to he didn't want to finish what we called, and JoJo just took a chair and just tossed it, and it literally wrapped around his head. But you're talking like it was a good distance. It wasn't like he was standing next to him.
Right.
I think he threw it from the ring. Right, if I remember.
It was he propelled it. Yeah, it had to travel a distance,
He did.
which meant
Right.
that like if you throw it 3 feet, you don't have to throw it that hard to
Right.
get there. But if you're throwing it like 15 feet, it's going to have a little more velocity to it.
It's going to have wrapped around his head.
It's going to have a little more piss and vinegar behind it. It's going to sting a little
Right,
more.
right.
Yeah.
And it wrapped around Trevor's head, and that whole match was a shit show debacle. It was at a biker show. It was a weird show. It was hot outside. It was like 9,000 degrees in Florida.
Yeah, that's
But
where
then-
two other things I remember. Well, three other things
Yeah.
I remember happened. I remember when Hudak pulled up and he got out of
Right.
his car. An empty bottle of Four Loko fell out of the car when he got out of it, and he had another full Four Loko in his hand that he had just started. I was like, oh boy, here we go with this. Two, I remember that we had some preconceived notions of the crowd because it was a biker crowd, that we figured they were
Yeah.
racist, and that Frank was gonna be the heel and Marco was gonna be the baby, but they totally were cheering for the black guy, and everyone was confused, and so Marco and Frank had to like call an audible during that match.
That's it.
And
Right.
three, I remember Derek Drexel was wrestling Gentleman Jim. Is that his name?
Yes, yes.
And that Jim was a member of this biker gang. And this happened to be the hardcore match that they brawled all over the parking lot and everywhere. And they were using every item known to man. And you could tell this crowd thought this was a real fight. And I saw people start to reach into their boots and pull out switchblades and other things. And they were like thinking, Like
It was real.
if I get close to this guy, I'm stabbing Derek because he's beating the shit out of our boy, our club member. And luckily, they got back in the ring before anything happened. But I saw one guy specifically pull a fucking switchblade out of his boot, and I don't know what else was going on. But if there was one guy doing that, there were probably three guys doing that. So I got a little nervous at one point during that match, and I was like, I think I even told somebody, like maybe the ref, like, you got to get this back in the ring because this is bad.
It's gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of shows. That's the kind of shows we ran.
Yeah.
So, but that was the first time we tried to kill Trevor. Then it was like, I don't know if it was like right after that, it may have been the weekend.
I think
after
I think that was no. I think it was a double shot. I think that
Right,
show
like
was
the next
Saturday, and Sunday was
Right.
like a birthday party at someone's house.
Right. So we did I was running it at the time, and somebody had reached out about doing a birthday party through Johnny, our buddy Johnny, and the lady paid us like $2,000 to set up a wrestling ring in their backyard and run a birthday party for their kid, which is fucking cool, right? Like, so we do the match was
That's a lot of money for a
well, you know,
for a
gotta pay everybody.
well, yeah, but what did you book 5 guys and ask 2 of them to wear masks? It worked twice.
Right. Well, you know, I was that guy.
This is let me just tell you something. That was the budget for most nights at SuperCon. Like, and we had a ridiculous amount of people, and at the end of the night I was still pulling like, you know, $50 out of my own pocket to pay people to cover the rest of it. So you
What are you trying to say? I'm a cheap fuck?
No, I'm saying you had a windfall. That's what I'm saying.
Well, whatever. Everybody got paid.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was me and JoJo again against Trevor, and I think it was his partner Mike, and we had still kind of had a little even from the night before.
Yeah.
With the whole debacle with he didn't want to wrestle. Blah,
I think
blah, blah.
that was the point. It carried over to the next day.
It did, and he was
Yeah.
back on the same bullshit of like, well, I don't want to do anything. And I was like, look, man, this lady paid money. We got to put a show on. He's like, yeah, I don't want to do anything. Because it wasn't that he just didn't want to work with us because we were dicks. So
You were using his ring,
whatever.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right, which he was getting paid for. So
Right.
we get in there, and he's like, he was just being very timid and like he was trying to not do anything. And when you do that in wrestling, you're going to get hurt. Like, he was just being like, he didn't want to do anything.
And that's
so anyway,
it's ridiculous because, like, of the two even afternoons, like the one
Right.
that's a kid's birthday party, you would think you don't have to worry be like
right.
like that you guys are going to behave yourselves and not do something
we
to
were.
them in front of
It
like
was
a
so
bunch of
hot. Right, it was hot out. There was kids there.
Yeah.
It was a birthday party. But you know, he got in that mood. He didn't want to do anything. And I don't know at what point it happened. I body slammed him, and I ran to do what they call a back senton. You literally just run at him as he's laying flat on the ground, back down, his face is up, and you run and you just do like almost like a cannonball, and your back lands on him. But in the wrestling business, you don't really touch them or you graze them or you're light with it. I ran like I was Rodney Dangerfield doing the triple Lindy. I just fucking, I took off and I cannonballed and I landed at that time I was probably 200 and maybe 40 pounds, 30 pounds. I landed full force on him. And all I remember the air coming out of him. He's like, hey! And he goes, I can't breathe. And he couldn't breathe. He couldn't catch his breath. And I was like, I got nervous. I was like, oh shit, I killed him. And he really could not breathe. And he literally rolled out of the ring going, I can't breathe. And he just rolled. And he got to the outside, and then his partner looked at him, looked at me, and came in, and we kept going. And then somebody went out and tended to him. He didn't come back in the match the whole rest of the match because he literally couldn't breathe. I either broke his ribs and knocked the wind out of it. I don't remember what it was, but we didn't really. That was kind of the end of it right there. Me and him really never spoke again until recently. I just saw him a couple weeks ago, and we were cool. But
yeah, when you came down to do the show, yeah.
Right, but I almost killed him, and it's funny because I don't think I ever told you this story. I have two more stories I'll tell really quick. It was the same night, and then we'll cut it because you know what time it is. It's dinner time. My mom's calling me. Uh, so anyway, we the meatloaf. Um, when Trevor first started with another guy named Frank Stone, who another friend of ours, uh, they had just started wrestling school, and I had already been in the business forever. And I kind of moseyed down to the wrestling school one night because I was bored. And I got there, and I was like, oh, I'll roll around. I get in the ring, and Trevor starts to shoot on me, like wrestling-wise, because they were like, oh, Trevor's like a real wrestler. So he's like really trying to wrestle me as if this is like the NCAA tournament. Well, I don't know. I got pissed because I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I had already been wrestling forever, 10 years or something like that, or somewhere around there. And we ended up like fighting, wrestling for real. And I ended up where I was on his back and I had him choked out and he tapped. And like both of our faces were red. I think I was bleeding a little bit. He was bleeding. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, you come in here like you're some nobody, like you're nobody. He didn't know who I was. Not that I was famous, but I'd already been around the business a long time. Totally disrespected me as a veteran. And I took that shit to heart because if I ever did that when I started, I would have got killed. So I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, he's like, he thought I was green, like you're new. And I was like, no, I've been doing this for fucking a long time, motherfucker. I was like, you definitely fuck with the wrong person. So I'm like hot. Well, then Rusty's like, get in there with Frank. So me and Frank get in there and we call a spot and Frank totally fucks the spot up. Totally fucks it up. So I'm, all right, let's try it again. Frank fucks it up again. All right, okay. One more time, buddy. Get in there, Frank fucks it up. Now this time he fucks it up and pops me in the mouth. Like, punches me right in the mouth. Because he thought he didn't remember what the spot was. He wasn't supposed to throw a punch. I was supposed to throw it. He just punched me in the mouth. I, without even thinking, just out of anger, he punched me. I just fucking super kicked him for real. Like full on kicked him right in his fucking face. Like right in his face. And he just popped, didn't even bump because it was real. He like went back. He's like, what the fuck? I was like, dude, you punched me in the mouth. He's like, my bad, man. He's like, you didn't have to hit me back. I was like, nah, bro, that's how it is here. Like,
that's what you do.
That's how it is. Right. He was bleeding. I was bleeding. And his nose was bleeding. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, bro, fuck, you hit me, you know? So Rusty's like...
And Rusty's panicking because
get out here.
He's looking at two paying customers about to stop.
So no, he called me out. He called me out. Rusty goes, get out here, get out here. So I get out of the ring. He goes, let me talk to you. So we walk over by the other side, and he goes, you can't be doing that. This isn't like the old days. I said, what the fuck do you mean? He said, they're paying. That's what he said to me. They're paying. And I said, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. He's like, no, back in the day, you know, you guys could do that shit because, you know, you were all tough and you wouldn't have quit. These guys, they'll walk out and I won't get paid for next week. That was the mentality. But to me, it pissed me off because that's not where I came from. That's not how I was taught or trained, you know? Like, if you couldn't hang in that situation, like, you know, listen to the last, was it 2 podcasts ago I talked about it. You couldn't hang in that situation, you were gone. Like, but now it was about money.
It was part of the weeding out process. They didn't want people that weren't tough. Mentally,
so once he said
and physically. Yeah.
I grabbed my shit, and I will tell you 2 things, and we'll end it with this. I grabbed my shit that night, and I said, I'm leaving. I never went back. And number 2, which this is sad, because Rusty's passed away now. From that day forward, my relationship with Rusty was never the same.
Really?
When I saw him at shows, I used to be his pride and joy, man. For 10 years, when anything we did, he would be proud. I trained that guy. He was my guy. Like, proud of me. He was weird to me from that moment on for the next, 9 years until he passed away. He was never treated me the same, never looked at me the same, never. He took the side of those guys because they were paying the money. And I didn't understand that, obviously. Like, I didn't really give a fuck because I was like, this is bullshit. But now.
Well, so do you think that he Yeah, but why would he be weird with you after that? It's not like he kind of set you straight and whatever. If he was uncomfortable with you after that, and part of that was on him, I think maybe he just maybe there was something to him in his head, like he was kind of like I don't know what the word is. It's not like guilty or ashamed or something, but like that that there was some kind of like compromising of the wrestling principles that he had to confess to you or something. Like, you know, I don't like, and I don't know, because I know Rusty and I think he's a fantastic guy, but I never had.
Was right. He was a great man,
and he was always like the weird thing is like I never like knew him back when you guys were all training. I met him after I started getting involved with the SuperCon stuff and with you,
right?
And I just went up to him one day and like kind of introduced myself, and I assumed that Flex had said some really good things about me because he kind of like was like, oh, I know who you are, and he's had a lot of like complimentary things to say, and obviously I was like giving opportunities to a lot of people that he had trained and whatever else and whatever, but like I had a totally different. I didn't have that. I never had that kind of relationship back when he was running a school or whatever. This is way after he had a school.
Yeah, it was just.
So I don't know if there was like a compromising of principles that he told, like kind of like, you know, had to pull you aside and say, listen, things are not like we're not training people the way we used to anymore, and that you know. And after that, he felt uncomfortable. I don't know, because it wouldn't make sense.
I also think part of it was, well, I will tell you what it was. Part of it is me not understanding that, and me being like, well, fuck that. These guys are a bunch of pussies.
So you made even after he said something to you, you kind of like,
I was like, this isn't the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and now I will tell you, now I'm 40 years old. I understand wrestling's not the same anymore. And for a long time, up until like 2 years ago, I still had that mentality. But AEW to me has changed my mentality, and now I'm like you're right. Like I was a dick. Like there's no reason to be that guy. But I was only like that because that's how I was brought up.
I mean,
like I went through it.
And this is this time period where you're talking about having this interaction with Rusty over this. Is like the middle point between now and back when you started, because now it's almost like another generation of guys since then.
Yeah.
So you were talking 2 generations of guys now, and you, if you try to run a school the way it was run when you came up, when
I wouldn't make any fucking money.
When hold on, when Rusty said to you, listen, they're paying, we can't do that anymore.
Right.
That you would have weeded half the people out. If you did it today, nobody would fucking attend your school. You'd be like driven out of the business. You know, it's like I mean, WWE had this problem when they had some of the old school guys like 100%. Like what's his name?
But I get that now. I understand it now.
Yeah.
I understand it. And I would never be that way now, but. No, but it was only because that's the way I was taught. But yeah, I mean, our relationship was never really the same after that, which, whatever, that's partly on me too. And I moved away and I was never really around anymore. So I get it. But, you know, look, there is a handful of people in wrestling that I always say, if it wasn't for them, I would never have got to experience it. Rusty is one of them. Number 2 is Flex Magnum, a good buddy Flex. Those 2 guys taught me what I needed to know, and then Billy, obviously, because Billy was there as well. But Billy was like the third of that, you know?
Yeah. By the way, sorry. I think Bobby Rogers has offered to tell a Flex story or 2 for the next, whenever we want to have him on again. He volunteered.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he does.
Some kind of shaving of the mustache and eyebrow and some other stuff.
He's got good ones.
Yeah.
So, but I would say, so the three I met, Rusty, Flex, Billy, and Bobby. Without Bobby, I would have never got. I will even throw, Ronimi in there, and then that would be the 5 who helped me in that time. And then my after time, I would definitely say, Carino was huge to me. And that second run I had, big, like at the end there. But and then Howard Brody. I got to put Howard over because I wouldn't have been on national television if it wasn't for Howard. So, But that's the main guys. But Let's go, because it's 45 minutes in. Dinner's calling.
Pots and pans are banging. The Heat have
Pots and
won.
pans. We got a
Have won it all.
30% off sale for the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, we
Hialeah
hold on.
30% off sale.
Let's do some bookkeeping here, man. You want to listen? This is your show. Why don't you do the
Listen,
advertisement? Read the copy.
BrizzCliz.com. Merchandise. You can get your merchandise 30% off on Wednesday. That's now. Like, you're going to be listening to it before Black Friday. You know what? The website, it's open Thanksgiving. You don't have to go off Black Friday. 30% off. Now, there is limited sizes because we're running out of stuff, but we're trying to get ready for the new batch of stuff next year. You got to get your stuff. We got hats, T-shirts, hoodies, tanks, and tons of stickers Ben will send you. Yeah, and then make sure that we, go check out the other social media. And I will say this. I am putting a match on YouTube tonight that I had at a Pro Wrestling Turbo show in Greenville, South Carolina a couple years ago. It was probably one of the most fun matches I've ever had. When I watched it today, it actually made me think, I can still do this.
Oh, boy.
So that's going to be up tonight.
Here we
TK
go.
is putting it up for me tonight. We've already had a discussion, me and Mr. Not Tony Khan, the other TK.
Right.
But yeah, there we go. So
it's funny. We have
I don't want to confuse
clarify that now.
Right. So, all right, I got to go to dinner. They're all waiting for me. I'm going to blame you.
Good. Tell your mom I'm trying to help her, but if she keeps it up, I'm going to leave this curse on
herself. Yeah.
I'm not going to lift this curse, and she's going to be back to her biggest weight.
All right. All right. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.